Today's Torah reading, this week's Torah reading is Parshas Nitzavim. And as we know, next week is going to be Rosh HaShanna. And this is always read right before Rosh HaShanna. Sometimes it's joined together, Nitzavim v'Yelech. So here we go. Atem Nitzavim hayom kulchem. You are all standing today. Lifnei Hashem Elokechem. That's how the sentence continues. You're standing today in front of God, your God. And Roshechem, Shiftechem, it tells about these different types of Jews that they're all standing before God. Hine behold, Parsha Zu, this Torah reading, Korin L'Olam, it's always read Kodem Rosh Hashanah, before the holiday of Rosh HaShanna. And last week we learned a little bit about Rosh Hashanah, that it's the day of God makes an inventory. It's the day that God created man. That's why we sound the shofar, in order to arouse the essence of God and to bring a good blessing for the whole entire year. So what happens in Rosh Hashanah? It says, Zeh hayom techilat ma'asecha, zichron liyom rishon. It's part of the prayers that we say in Rosh Hashanah. This is the day of the beginning of your deeds, and it's a remembrance for the first day. And it's a remembrance for the first day. Okay, what this sort of is, by the way, the sentence which we can take just for granted because it's one of the sentences in the prayer. It's sort of self-contradictory, because God really began creating the world 6 days before he created man. Rosh Hashanah is the day he created man. That's the first day of Tishrei. And 5 days before that, God began to create the world. The world was created in 6 days. The sixth day of the creation, that was when God created the man. So really, God started creating it 5 days before. 5 days before. On Chaf Hei, actually 6 days before. On Chaf Hei Elul. So what are we saying? This is the day of the beginning of your deeds. Right? Why is it the beginning? It's not the beginning. And then wait to the end. This is the finality, the summary, the final act. And then afterwards it says this is the first day, and then it says it's a remembrance for the first day. So if it's the beginning, then why do we say it's a remembrance for the first day? Or maybe we're saying no, it's a remembrance for the first day way back then, 5,700 years ago. But it's not. It's really a remembrance for the sixth day. So the sentence in a way doesn't make sense. Let's look at a little bit into this in depth. What is actually being said here? Just one moment. Give me one moment, please. Give me one moment. Right. This is the good. Okay, so this is the day of the beginning of your deeds, a remembrance for the first day. In any case, let's go into the exact meaning a little bit later. But first of all, we know that this is the Rosh Hashanah is the day that's relevant to the creation of the world. Okay, good, but the world was created a long time ago. The world was created, according to Judaism, 5,700 and what, 80, now it's going to be 82 years ago. And there's some religious rabbis that say that it was, that there was a time warp and that every day is 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years. But the Lubavitcher Rebbe certainly doesn't look at it that way. But nevertheless, whenever it was, today is not the day. Right? Today is just a remembrance for that day. We can't say this is the day of the beginning of your deeds. It's not the beginning. Maybe it's a remembrance for the beginning. Okay, says the Rebbe, why do we say it is the beginning? Because kol nitzutzi neshamos, all of the sparks of all of the souls, in other words, the essence of every soul, those that were living before, those that are now nitzavim umitalim, they stand. Atem nitzavim. Nitzavim means standing firmly. They're all standing. Umitalim, and they are elevated. Bimakoran, in their source, Rishon. Biyom on this day. Ad lifnei Hashem, until they get to this level of before God. The soul, you see, like this. It's the soul is created for a purpose, and the purpose, that's the real meaning in life. The real true meaning in life is to fill this purpose. And this purpose is calling to us. You want to say it's life calling to us, it's meaning calling to us. It's not how much money you make. Making money is not bad. It's not how much money you make, or how famous you are, or how powerful you are, or successful you are. All these things are good things. There's nothing wrong with success, being rich, being a multi-billionaire. Wonderful. Wonderful. The question is, what do you do with all these things? What do you do with all? In fact, on Rosh Hashanah, we're praying. That's what we learn in Kuntras of Mayan. We learn that it's Monday night. What do you do with it? What do you do with it? All these things, your money and stuff, that's just temporary. It's temporary. Even when you go to sleep, you don't have it. You go to sleep at night, you don't have any money. You're unconscious. You can't get any money. So your soul goes out of your body, it raises up, whatever it is. So who are you really? So it says who you really are, and is the reason why your soul was put into the world is in order to do what God wants. God creates you. Your whole thing is to do what God wants. There's intermediate stages. There's what's called, you go to heaven, there's levels in heaven, and etc. But the essence of the whole business is what right now, what we do, what God wants. So it says on Rosh Hashanah, this shines down. This shines down. Everybody sort of feels in the essence of the soul that we sort of got the whole thing wrong. As long as you think that the purpose of in this world is, the success or anything that everybody else thinks is having a wonderful family, and all these things are wonderful. But the point is what do you do? What do you do? What are you doing? What is your attitude? What do you actually do with that attitude? What do you say? What do you think? How does it come out in action in the world? Are you really serving God? So it says all the souls go back up to this first source. It's like the whole thing goes back up to its source. The whole reason for the creation. So it could be, let's say, take an example, these people who got killed in the Holocaust. So they died because they were Jews. It could be that they fulfilled their purpose. Could be, I'm not saying that I understand this, but could be they filled their purpose in doing what God wants more than a person who had, a congregation of, 10,000 people and was tremendously successful, but he, was a little bit sort of lenient, he talked in a microphone on Shabbos, and it could be, who knows? Who knows? But the point is that the standards of the how do you say that the goal of life is not what we think it is. Not what we think it is. And in a way, we'll never really be able to understand it. There's only people that are called tzaddikim, and even more exact, rebbes, that they really get the purpose of, why we're here. And so that's what happens in Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, everybody gets a little bit of a flash of this thing. Why did God create me? Now, this is especially the Jews. The non-Jews, they don't have to keep Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. But in fact, everyone is judged on this day, Jews and non-Jews as well. That all the sparks of the souls, they all stand and they go up to their source. And all the different types of Jews. It says the heads of the Jews, Roshechem, Shiftechem, the heads of the tribes, Chotev Etzecha, it says the wood choppers, the people who drew the water. Prata Katuv, the Torah details 10 different levels of Jews. Shekamoshi Esher Madregos, just like there are 10 different levels in the soul of man, right? That's what's called the 10 Sfirot. Hainu, Gimel Sichlim, V'zayin midot, there's what's called the 10 sfirot in the soul. The Chachma, Bin, and Dat, those are intellect, the power of conception, the power of understanding, the power of realization, and the emotions, love, fear, etc. 7 emotions. Kach, also, there are different types of Jews. Heim, Koma, Achat. Jews are like one big person. Shlema. Kalalos, Nishmasayim, and all of their souls are called Knesset Yisrael. All of the souls of all the Jews are like one big person. And just like one big person is composed of a lot of cells and a lot of membranes and a lot of this, and also a lot of different aspects of the soul, Also the same thing, the Jews. The Jews are one big body. And that whole one big body is called Knesset Yisrael. That's what the secret also, it says, of loving every Jew, because every Jew is really part of the same big body. Madrigos is divided into 10 different levels. Uba Rosh, HaShanna, on Rosh HaShanna, Mit Alim, there is elevated Kol Madrigos, all these levels. Even the lowest level Jew, the wood choppers and the water drawers. This is the lowest. These are the lowest, so to speak, level of Jew. They can't appreciate anything. They don't feel anything. They don't have. They understand a good meal. That's all they understand. It's maybe a good television program, etc., etc., etc. 1 second. Nitzavim. Where's the end of these parentheses? These things always elude me. 1 second. Here we go. Liot, Kulam, Mitalim, because all of the Jews, that's why it says that they're all standing, because all of them are elevated. Lamaila, B'makor Chutzvam, in the source from which they were hewn out. This we're going to say later on in Hazinu. It will be when, right? Yeshurun Melech B'Hisasef Rosheam, when all of the, and it was in Yeshurun is another name for the Jewish people. There was a king. When all the people would gather together, Rosheam B'Hisasef, all of the people are joined together. Yachad Shifte Yisrael, all of the Jewish people are joined together. Perish, what does it mean? Shekulam, that all of them, mit asfim, all the Jewish people are all gathered together. Kulam mit asfim yachad, they're all gathered together. Liot achadim, to be one in God's oneness. Oh, yes. All right. Ki zeu klal gadol. This is a big general principle in life. Called the asimitra kedusha. Anything that comes from the side of holiness is notes techilah b'sofo. It's always the end is found in the beginning. Holiness. Don't think what holiness means. That the more removed you are from the world, the holier you are. This is not so. Holiness is expressed specifically in physical things. Specifically in physical things. There's also the angels are also saying holy, holy. In a way, in the Tanya it says also that the 6th chapter, anything that's that's surrendered to God is called holy. But the main holiness is revealed in the physical world. She'ein lo bechinas rosh v'sof. There is, because holiness has no up and down. This is a unique thing to Judaism, right? Judaism says that the real place you can find holiness is only in this physical world. It's not this world as a stepping stone in order to get to higher levels, and that's also true. That's also true, but that's not the point of it. Being holy means that you pay no attention to anything except for the Creator. And one of the big goals of the Creator is to make this physical world holy. In other words, to ignore the bad parts of it, but on the other hand, to reveal the good parts of it, this world. In holiness, there's no top and bottom. Bahu bechinas agulim. This is what's called agulim, surrounding level. A surrounding level of God. Shenimshach, sometimes we call sovev kol olam. It comes from this aspect of sovev kol olam, that God surrounds all of the worlds. What does it mean that he surrounds all of the worlds? Let's take an example, an architect, right? An architect. So he makes this tremendously high building. So by the architect, the top floor and the bottom floor is exactly the same thing. In fact, the bottom floor is more important. That's the foundation, right? By the architect, the plans to make the building, when it's in his mind, and the actual building are basically the same thing also. It's no further away from the architect. In a way, exactly the opposite. The physical building is closer to the essence of the architect than his plans are, even though the plans are, genius plans, and he took, weeks, months to make it up, and he had to know all these, principles in physics and pressure and weights and things like this, and he had to learn years and years in order to do it. This is not everybody can make a building, be an architect, a building that'll stand up. You can't do it. So that's the essence of the building, right? This building was built by, who knows, Frank Lloyd Wright or whoever that's the extent of my architectural knowledge of history. He was built by this amazing person. But so you figure the building, what's the big deal? The builders built it. But the fact is that the whole essence of the architect is the final product. The same thing with God. The essence of God is found only in the final product. The beginning is found in the end, and the end is found in the beginning. This physical world has a tremendous effect on God. And therefore, the rabbis say, that's why it says you should be humble in front of everybody. In each and every one, each person has something that his friend does not have. And everybody needs everybody else. Big principle in Judaism. Who is a wise man? Someone who learns from everybody. And we're talking about a non-Jew also. So in other words, every non-Jew is better than me. How many non-Jews are there? 9 billion, something like that? I don't know. 9 billion. In other words, I have 9 billion lessons to learn. Everybody has something to teach me. On the other hand, I have something to teach everybody else. I'm better than everybody else. I am superior to 9 billion people in the world. I have something to teach them. That's a pretty good feeling. On the other hand, I'm inferior to 9 billion people in the world. I'm lacking 9 billion lessons. That's pretty humbling. So what am I? I'm better than everybody else? I don't understand. I'm better than everyone else, or I'm lower than everybody else? What's the answer? Yes. I'm better than everyone else, and I'm lower. I have something to teach everybody by being a good example, by being a good person. But on the other hand, you have to appreciate everybody. Nimsa comes out that there's an advantage in every single person, that everybody is higher than everybody else. But everybody also needs me. So I need everyone, and everyone needs me. Just like a person, just like a human being. Normal human beings have a head. And normal human beings also have feet. Now your head is really necessary. Your feet are not as necessary as your head is, but nevertheless, no one would want to lose a foot or a toe. Or raglayim, because the feet can do something that the head can't do. Even though the feet are the lowest level and they are below, and the head is the highest level. And higher than it, right? If they give you a choice, whereas in France, what would you rather stick in the guillotine, your foot or your head? So you'll say neither one. You stick your foot in the guillotine. Leave me alone. Says no, you got to make a choice. So God forbid you have to make a choice like that. So nobody's going to say take my head, right? I need my feet because I got all these shoes at home that I bought. What am I going to do with the shoes? That's ridiculous, right? Everybody, but nevertheless, the fact of the matter is the feet have a big advantage on the head. Nevertheless, in one way, there is a big advantage to the feet over the head. The feet, you need them to walk. And also, you need them to stand up. They stand up the body. And the head, The body and the head stands up. V'gam also covered Rosh. Also, when a person has a headache, makizim dumba raglayim. They don't do this anymore, but you'd take, they had bloodletting. Bloodletting used to be very popular. Bloodletting from the feet. Maybe they should start it again. I don't know. Instead of the inoculations from the corona, maybe this will help. The head receives from the feet. You let blood from the foot, as that they have nowadays, especially these people in reflexology. What is it called? Reflexology. I don't know. In Hebrew, they wrecked up my whole. In Hebrew, it's called reflexologia. Anyway, they work with your feet, and it helps your head. It helps your whole thing. She'ein shleimus l'rosh b'li raglayim. The head cannot be complete without the feet. Kachine, behold, Kol Yisrael, the Jewish people are one big body. Nimsa, so it comes out. Afilu mi shemecha bedato, a person that thinks that he is better than everybody else. He's the head. Lagabi chavero. And even if he is, he's a big genius and everybody comes to him, he gives perfect advice all the time, but nevertheless, ein lo shlemos b'li chavero. No one is complete without any other. Like Moses. Moses was certainly the head. He told everybody what to do, and he said the people are his feet, but nevertheless, he needed all the people. As soon as the people sinned with the golden calf, it brought him down. The Yimsa, so comes out, if a person does not include everyone together with him, even if that person is the head, Yimsa, it'll come out, Chisron benafsha, that this person, that he's the head and he's the big genius, and he really is, and he's a wonderful person. If he's missing one person, one Jew, then there's a big lacking in the soul. Mashechavero mashlimo, that everybody completes you. Al yadeza, by means of this, batal v'shafal ruach b'fnei of chebrel. Therefore, everyone will be humble in front of everyone else. Mibali yimsa adam, so that you won't say that anybody is better than me or worse than me. Al yadei bittul zeh, by means of this, is achdu hasharas yehudo yisbarech. You will give over the oneness of God. Shemisitu the kedusha. That's the whole idea of holiness. There's no high and that there's no real low. Beli rosh v'sof, without any end or beginning or end. Now, don't misunderstand this. If a person is better than everybody else, he knows more, and he's more in tune, whatever with that. So don't think that it means you shouldn't be teaching everybody. Don't think it means you shouldn't be. Exactly the opposite. Right? Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Everybody does what they want to. You know, the world is free. Each man to himself. Right? I'm no better than you. You're no better than me. I don't tell you what to do. You don't tell me. That's not true. If you see exactly the opposite, it's an obligation. If you see someone doing something wrong, you have to try to improve. At least pray for him. Something like that. Now, this is especially for Jews, but the Rebbe pointed out that it means also for non-Jews. And eventually, if the Jewish people, they really see the goodness in everybody, in every non-Jew as well, then we'll try, at least by being a good example, to get people to believe in their creator, the one who's creating them. Not they all have to be religious and bow down like we do, but everybody has to realize that there's a creator that's creating them, and this creator has what's called 7 general principles of life. They can call it the Noahide commandments, and these are just things that everybody's conscience tells you to do. A lot of times the religions, either they stress them or they negate them, they kill each other, they steal, and if it's the name of the religion, you can steal. That's wrong. So it says, therefore, you have to do your job. Everybody has their job, but what's the point over here? What's the point? The point is, don't think that you're essentially superior to anyone. You just have a different job. Which is not the case. If you think that you are separate from everybody else, and you become a head and you think you're the head and the other person is the foot. Harihu nofel ba'alma the pruda sitracha. Therefore, he becomes separate. It also doesn't mean that you have to leave your door open and anyone who wants to just come in and just partake or whatever it is. Right? I remember in the hippie generation, they used to have your door was just open. We're all friends and with all that. Right? Do whatever you want, take whatever you want. Nobody works. I remember that I was sort of involved in that, even though I was very suspicious of the whole thing, but I was sort of involved in that whole thing. And it was like, the San Francisco mindset, you want my car, take the car, just bring whatever back, I don't even know who you are. I just trust you, you trust me. And it worked really good. It worked really good for about 2 years. It was like from 19, and then all of a sudden somebody decided he wanted the other guy's girlfriend, or he wanted his wife, or he wanted the other guy's car permanently, or he just wanted to punch somebody in the face. That's what I want, Do unto others as you'll have them do unto you. I don't care if punch me. I can't stand this goody life. I just want. So there has to be order. It has to be according. That's what I do. What the Torah is. But the point here is never to forget that you're just a creation. That's the point. You are not a creation, and the reason that you're intelligent is because God gave you this intelligence. So you have to use it for something better. But don't think deep inside that you're intrinsically better than anybody else. But on the other hand, you have to live your life according to values. You can't just let people come in and steal everything they got in your house. They haven't got anything. Hine, behold, Rosh HaShanna, on the first day of the year, Rosh HaShanna, who bechinas tshuva. This is the level of tshuva. Tshuva shekalolas and neshamas, that all the souls go back to their source. They return back to their source. What do you mean to their source? We're creations, like I say, and not only we're created. However old you were created 50 years ago or 20 years ago. You're being created every second right now. The same God that's creating time, that's creating existence, he's creating me. So soul just goes back, but there's something deeper. You're being created for a purpose. You might not even know what it is, but just the fact that you know that there is. Zeo, this is v'hisasef Rosh. Rosh, this is what it means when there's gathered together. The heads of the people, the head, this is the level of thought. The Rosh the heads of the people, this is the level of the thought of all of the Jewish people. Now we have to remember over here that the Jewish people are different. Not saying that superior. In some ways they're inferior because they're what they call public servants. They're the servants of the world. The Jewish people are here in order to improve the world. But in order to do that, they have to learn Torah. They have to do the commandments, right? They have to keep Shabbat. They have to separate themselves from everybody else as far as Judaism goes, as far as their uniqueness goes. Right? They have to make a clear boundary. There has to be a clear boundary between a Jew and a non-Jew. Just like there has to be a clear boundary between what's kosher food and what's not kosher food, what's Shabbat and what's a weekday. Very important, there should be boundaries. Just like it's important to say, what's my head is different from my foot, and my foot, you don't put your shoes on your head. Shehem mitasfim, all the Jewish people, the Jewish people were chosen by God to bring this message to the whole world about there's a creator and that there's rules for the creation. Shehem mitasfim me'alma depruda, the Jewish people are gathered together from this, what's called this world of separation. Shenaflu machshavotam liyod zeh poneh lakan v'zeh poneh lakan. It could be that people separate and they forget about their creator, and everybody thinks that they themselves are the creator. And what's the proof? If you forget about the creator, and God forbid you go against the creator, you're still here. Here you are, you're still here, right? And what is the creator? The creator is reality. What is reality by you? If you think you decide reality, there's these whole things. I don't know if you've ever seen this. There were these movies going around that the whole world is subjective, right? It's quantum physics. There's the world of whatever it is, a ray, a wave, or it is a particle, or this, and it all depends on how you think. So from this, we can extrapolate and we can come to the conclusion that everything is just in my mind. No, where did your mind come from? Your mind is in your mind. This is not so. The fact of the matter is that that's called separation. That's called chaos. Chaos is when everybody thinks I'm separate. I can do what I want to. You don't really exist. The only thing that really exists is me. That is called the world of separation. All that's really important is me. There's whole big systems that are based on this insanity. One of the most destructive ideas possible, but it sounds really nice in the beginning, And the fact of the matter is, a lot is, yes, in our heads, a tremendous lot in our head. And we have the saying in Chabad all the time, think good and it will be good. Your thoughts actually contribute to the outcome of everything. But sometimes you think good, and what you think about and what you want is not really good for you. Huh? It's not to your benefit. Yeah, you want to. I remember there was this country and western song, thank God for unanswered prayers. There was in high school, some girl, he wanted to get married. He prayed to God. He wanted to marry, and God did not answer his prayers. 30 years later, he saw her walking the street. He says, thank God for unanswered prayers. What I wanted was the worst thing. So sometimes what we want is not exactly but nevertheless, what your desires and your thoughts and this certainly have a big influence on reality, on the outcome. That's what it says, that all these levels of the levels of the different types of Jews and different levels of Jews, they're all gathered together from this separate world, that their thoughts fell down. Each one has his own way and his own direction and his own this, and they do it not in a good way. There's no good or bad. Everybody just, I say throw caution to the winds. Then they become what's called a Reshuta Yachid, to God's oneness. Similarly, is also when you say Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, the motto of Judaism, the word Shema means to gather together. Like Vayishama, Vayishma, Shaul at the Amma. It says that Shaul gathered, King Saul gathered the people together. The word is used, Vayishma. So that's what happens on Rosh Hashanah. All these souls are gathered together. But derech prat, individually. How is it derech yachid? What happens to each and every person? What exactly is this thing of tshuva that we're supposed to do on Rosh Hashanah? It sort of happens automatically. We're drawn back to our source. We don't have to do anything. Of course we do. The essence of Judaism was what you do. On Passover, God took us out of Egypt. We didn't do anything. We just left. Rosh Hashanah is we have to do the work. That's why man was created. That's why we sound the shofar. What's the end of tshuva? Why is it on Rosh Hashanah? That's what we have to do, is tshuva, to return. What are we supposed to do? And why Rosh Hashanah? Bira Katuv, afterwards it says, the next sentence says that God gathered us all together. Why? In order to, make us go through the ceremony, the process of a brit. We talked about this before. From Parshat Kitavo, remember we learned this in the Devar Malchut. From Parshat Kitavo, last week's Torah portion, it's talking over and over and over about this agreement that God made with the Jews. What do you call it? Blood agreement, the soul agreement, unification that God makes with the Jews. When did God make this agreement, this brit, with the Jews? When? Rosh Hashanah. Why? What happened on Rosh Hashanah? Rosh Hashanah was the man was created. Man is everybody, not just the Jews. Why is Rosh Hashanah there? Why are the Jews the only ones that celebrate it? I mean, anybody can look in the Bible. There was some, very genius popes and people like that, and they could have easily, and they know what the Jews were reading. They know what the Jews. If you look in the Torah and you take the dates of everybody and the overlaps, it comes out that you know when man was created. Maybe not exactly the day that he was created, but you know when he was created. But what year? Why doesn't anybody else celebrate it? Only the Jews. It's important a day. The day of the birth of mankind, that's pretty important. Huh? Of all man was created. Bir Kasuv, afterwards it says that God makes a covenant with us. Two people, that they make a covenant between them. That they will never stop loving one another. If there was something that love depended on, they would not need a covenant. When do you make a covenant? When you're worried that maybe you'll forget about your love for one another. Because they're afraid, maybe they will lose this. Then the love will go away. Something will happen from the outside. Huh? You and Shmerel make an agreement together. We're going to be friends to death do us part. Right? We're going to be our friends. Somebody comes over and said, "Oh, you just made a covenant with Shmerel?" Yeah, what a guy. He's a thief. He's a liar. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Oh, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have made the covenant with him. But I made the covenant. What can I do? You know, you make the, oh, you made the covenant. Wow, I don't believe it. How could you do that? Right? So you say, okay, what can I do? I made the covenant. You know, we made it. That moment when we made this covenant, we realized that we're really, in our essence of our souls, we're really one. Now you're trying to take this way that he did these things. You start to think, listen, maybe he did do the things, but in the essence of our soul, we are really one. We didn't just make it for practicality. Aliyah decreases bris by means of this making. I don't know if there is such a thing. It's supposed to be ideally that's what's supposed to be a marriage. A man gets married to a woman. It's supposed to be a brit, that they make a covenant with one another. Under the that's what it's supposed to be. I mean, you can also get divorced according to Judaism. Get the divorce. We learned about that 2 weeks ago. Divorce is 100% permissible, but it's certainly not advisable. So you're supposed to try to remain married as long as you can, because a lot of times the reasons for not getting married are just temporary, just things that can go away with it. But the covenant that you made is permanent. By means of this brit, their love will be eternal. Baltimore, it'll never move forever. So two people make a blood covenant between them, and this covenant means that, of course, they always have to go back to the essence of their soul. And I will be faithful to this other person. We are partners in battle. We're partners in business. Whatever it is, we make a blood agreement. And I'm never going to hate him. We'll always have love one for the other. Until nothing can ever separate them. Does such a thing exist in the world? Like I say, I don't know. But it certainly does exist between God and the Jewish people. God made a covenant with us. No matter what we do, he made this covenant. That's all. Even if we don't want any part of it. The fact of the matter is that deep in our souls, our covenant has to be two ways, right? Deep in our souls, every Jew feels this also. You can go temporarily insane. You can say, I don't want anything to do with God. Because they make this tremendous connection. Chazak, that's so strong, that their love ties them together, but kesher nifla, above any logic or reason. Even though that you have a million reasons to hate this other person, or even to hate, but nevertheless you remember all the time this covenant that you made. Because you made this deep eternal agreement. As mukhrach liot ahavatam la'ad, there has to be a connection forever. Kayemet va'al kol peshaim tchase'ava, like it says, all sins love covers over. Bekesher amit zeh lefi shabo bebris v'izkashus keilu nasu basar echad. It's as though you become one flesh. Ukamo shalo yochal ifsok avaso. Just like a person can never stop loving himself, kach lo yifsok me'al chavero. Also, you cannot stop loving your friend. And it's true that people go insane and they commit suicide, but generally normal people love themselves. And I think, maybe I'm wrong, that even when a person, God forbid, commits suicide, it's because he loves himself. It's because he thinks it's going to be better for him. Somehow or other, the best choice to make is to, like it says, wipe all the pieces off the chess set and just forget the whole game. I just found myself in a corner, and a person imagines that he's in a corner or whatever it is, and somehow or other thinks this is the best thing for him. So it still comes from love. Very rare is a person that hates himself. Could be. There could be such things. And therefore, nikra b'lashon krisis bris. Therefore, it's called making a covenant. Like it says, asher korsu et whatever. Asher korsu et the egel. It says that they divided. How did they make a covenant? The Abraham, it says, they cut. It says a brit bena batarim. It's a covenant between the pieces. What did they do? He took an egel mishuleshet, whatever is eiz mishulesh. He cut them into two. And he put one on one side and one on the other side. And it says that he and God's presence went through. Vayavru beina batarim. They went between the pieces. Kolomar, liot shneim orvim betoch guf echad. Both of them are mixed, united within one body. Just like this calf is not whole one half without the other, so we're not also whole one without the other. This is what God is doing to us on Rosh HaShanna. I'm making a covenant with you Jewish people. This was after the Jewish people sinned with the golden calf. God said, okay, listen, I'm making another covenant with you. Here's the covenant. I can never stop loving you. Right? Of course, God put himself into a really, bad situation over here. Because now the Jews, you can never stop loving, so I could do whatever I want to, right? He says, yeah, but it's very painful. Nevertheless, this is the connection of the Jews to God and the connection of God to the Jews. A Jew in his essence can never leave God. Even though that there's thousands of layers of, ignorance and false decisions and the sins and everything. Nevertheless, deep down, a Jew knows it is a Jew. The same thing is also with God. No matter what a Jew does to God, God will always love the Jews. That's the way it is. I don't understand why. In fact, it's above understanding. So God made this covenant with the Jewish people. A Jewish people has to be according to the Torah, right? Either your mother is Jewish or you're converted according to Jewish law. That makes you a Jew. Does that make any sense? Not any sense at all, but that's what it is. You're connected to this inner essential connection. Just like David said, Jonathan was King Saul's son, and King Saul hated David. He wanted to kill him. Niflot ahabatecha, the love between them was wondrous. By means of these 13 attributes of mercy that Moses drew down after the Jews worshipped the golden calf and God wanted to wipe them out. So really it ends up that God he didn't really want to wipe them out. It was just a test. He was saying to Moses, I want to wipe them out unless you say these 13 attributes of mercy. So of course Moses is going to say them because that evokes the essence connection between God and the Jews. This nasa kiviyachol, so to speak, this makes an attachment of the Jews to God and God to the Jews. To arouse this love and consequently forgiveness. Our sins will not be separated between us and God. That's one of the things why God destroyed the temple and he did not destroy the Jews, to show that he was very angry, but I still love the Jews. What can we do? And the love of the Jews is from the Torah. Can't erase that. Because the Jewish people are a part of God. We're one with God. So all this happens on Rosh Hashanah, pretty dynamic, pretty amazing. God makes this covenant, this unity with the Jewish people. And the reason is they have to remember over here, we're talking about that God is the creator of the universe. He's creating everybody. He's creating all the non-Jews. And the Jewish people are just supposed to be here to show how to improve this connection, right? Like you have on television, sometimes you have these people who are, exercise, show you how to get the best of life, what to eat and what to do, and how to think and how to walk, how to talk, how to deal with others, how to deal with stressful situations. They're just telling you how to be healthy, have a healthy life. The Jewish people are here to tell you how to have a healthy connection with your Creator. And this is renewed every Rosh Hashanah, as we're going to talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. Now let's learn a sikha of the Rebbe.